Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo. Dom Izzo.
All right, good morning, everybody. It must be a Monday. Nothing like a little power bump at 8:58 here, station-wide, to be sitting, and then it goes completely dark on you. But that's live TV. So good morning, everybody, and welcome to a new week on Hot Mic. Hope everybody had a tremendous weekend and ready to rock and roll as we start the month of August. It is officially a football month now. There'll be games played. Heck, there'll be a game played on Thursday night in lovely Canton, Ohio to start the NFL preseason. And we are officially T-minus, 24 days out from the first college football games being played. In fact, we'll talk about a game being played on the 27th of August. The Dragons play their season opener on a Thursday night with Northern Michigan over at Shields Field. And we'll preview that with our guy Steve Laqua coming up in our second hour of the show. It is a huge baseball day, and it has a couple of tangents on that. It is Major League Baseball trade deadline day, and it goes down at 5 o'clock. There's already been a handful of moves, even this morning, that have gone on to try and affect the balance of power in the American League. But the biggest deal went down Saturday night. And for those that follow the sport, know exactly what I'm talking about, that the Tigers traded Tarek Skubal, the outstanding Cy Young Award-winning, 2 times over, left-handed pitcher from the Detroit Tigers, to the Los Angeles Dodgers. And we discussed this on the show on Friday, that there was the potential of that going down with our guy Corey Provis. We both lamented that it would not be great for the sport if they got arguably the best pitcher in the game to add on to already a team that has won back-to-back world championships with an outstanding staff already that doesn't even have Shohei Ohtani pitching in it. But the powers that be that run the Dodgers offer the Tigers' haul back was nothing either to shake a stick at. And there you have it, where now this all-star roster is even more impressive. And if there's anything to fortify fans around maybe supporting the owners in the upcoming lockout strike, however you want to term it, it's going to be a lockout. The owners are going to lock out the players after the contract expires in November. This could do it, because there is a sizable amount of fans that are not thrilled now that that this one team can stack it in a way against the other 29. And we're going to have a postseason, and it should be great, and it's normally thrilled with great plays and thrilling finishes and all that kind of stuff. But when we already know that one team has a decided advantage over everybody else, I don't know how much fun that is for the rest of the teams participating. As for the Minnesota Twins, when we last left you on Friday morning, they were getting ready for their set with the Mariners. They won Friday. Good win there, late comeback. Lost in walk-off fashion on Saturday in a really bizarre finish that they had Saturday. Royce Lewis decided to not throw home, instead touch first, and that allowed the winning run to score. So that set up the rubber game yesterday at former Safeco Field. It will be Safeco to me, against a Mariners team that's also right in the hunt, that's going to have to make some decisions on its own future. The Twins we know they made a trade Friday. They traded for A.J. Minter. They made another trade over the weekend, which we'll tell you about in a second. But they were going for a series win yesterday in Seattle against a Mariners team that can hit the baseball. They can pitch it. Josh Naylor started things in the bottom of the first, opposite field over the outstretched arms of Trevor Larnach to score Randy Arozarena and Cole Young and make it a 2-0 Seattle lead. They had fun on Taj Bradley yesterday. Up 3-zip. Bradley, by the way, went 6 innings. Cal Raleigh delivers. It's been a down year for the big dumper, but a 3-run bomb. It's 6-0. It's a laugher, right? This is over. The Twins are going to lose 2 out of 3. But they put a round together, much like we saw against the Royals in the walk-off Thursday. Larnach gets a 2-run. Fun weekend for Trevor Larnach. We have to talk about it. It's a 2-run shot. Makes it 6-2. Royce Lewis hits a bomb to center in the top of the 8th with 2 men on. It's now 6-5. Top of the 9th. Luke Keeschall and the Mariners have brought in their guy to close it, but Keeschall hits an opposite field bomb to right and ties the game at 6. They've come all the way back, but the Twins bullpen couldn't get anybody out of the 9th. Colton Emerson hits a base hit to right. That would score the winning run, and the Mariners walk off the Twins for the second day in a row. 7-6, the final score to drop the Twins back under 500 after they got a game over 500 with their win on Friday. They lose back-to-back in walk-off fashion. 7-6 yesterday. Bradley not involved in the decision, went 6 innings, allowed 7 hits, 3 runs, and struck out 2. Yandres Gomez took the loss for Minnesota. George Kirby went 7, not involved in the decision for Seattle. So, the standings this morning in the American League Central will start there. The White Sox have a 3-game lead on Cleveland. They're 4 up on the Twins, and the Tigers aren't out of this yet. They won 3 in a row after they traded Skubal. Are 5.5 back in the poorest Central Division. In the wild card race in the American League, Yankees, Red Sox, Guardians. The Twins are a game back of Cleveland. Then the Rangers a game and a half back. And then the Mariners sitting 2 back. And the Orioles and Tigers 2.5 back. There's still plenty of teams in this race, even at deadline day today. That's what makes it so intriguing on who's either buying or selling, who's adding players this morning. Now, the Twins made one deal we knew about. They traded A.J. Minter for the Mariners, for the Mets on Friday morning. They were not done. They added another pitcher over the weekend for the Baltimore Orioles. They received Dean Kramer for Yomandro Reyes, who's a minor leaguer in the Twins system. Kramer, 30 years old. He's a righty. 1-4 with an ERA near 7. It's 6.5. Allowed 26 earned runs in 36 innings, 38 strikeouts, and a whip of 1.36. Reyes is 18 years old, is hitting .275 in the rookie Florida Complex League with Low A Fort Myers. He's from the Dominican Republic, 12 doubles, 3 triples. He's on his way to Baltimore. So the Twins have added 2 middling pitchers, maybe. Minter's been okay, but he's thrown a lot of innings and has been hurt. And Kramer probably was not that far away from being designated for assignment because the way he was pitching. So they haven't lost any major talent, but that's what they have done so far with a few hours to go before the deadline. Now, I mentioned Larnach, and that's really interesting story over the weekend because apparently the Twins had agreed to send Larnach to the Houston Astros as part of a deal for reliever Brian Abreu, which is actually that would grab some headlines, that would grab some attention. Like, wow, the Twins are doing something aggressive here. They're going to add a guy that can help them, and Larnach would be moving on, who has had his best year. This deal was agreed to. Apparently, Jim Crane, the owner of the Astros, blocked the trade. Star Tribune says, Trevor Larnach has played in the major leagues for 6 seasons, and when he saw Saturday was new to him. Larnach saw a social media report the Houston Astros owner, Jim Crane, blocked a trade that would have sent reliever Brian Abreu to the Twins for Larnach. That offer and Crane's role were accurate, a league source familiar with the situation told the Minnesota Star Tribune. The Astros ended Saturday in first place in the American League West. So Larnach, who ended up contributing all weekend, you saw what he did yesterday, evidently is still with the team as of now. Derek Shelton said, has been straight up about everything, which I really appreciate because I'm a straight up person. Larnach said, I don't really beat around the bush. Just take it for what it's worth. I understand it's a business, but he's been awesome for me and the team. I appreciate conversations like that for sure. That's what makes it really interesting, and we talked about this with Corey Provis on the show on Friday, that not having a game today maybe benefits the Twins if they decide to make a move, that they don't have to scratch a guy or get the guy off the field during the game. We've seen that happen more times than we probably admit, that, hey, you can't play anymore, you've been traded. They don't have to worry about that today. That's the first I've seen of that a deal has been agreed upon, and the owner said no. Abreu, by the way, who may not be known, helped the Astros to win the World Series in 2022. He's eligible to become a free agent at the end of the season. That's why the Twins would probably be in on him. ERA of 4.74 in 41 games this year. Much better, though, in the last 2 months, yielding much like the Astros. The Astros are terrible for the first couple months. They've been better over the last 2. Yielding 4 runs in the past 18 2/3 innings for Abreu, who's been a nasty pitcher at the back end of Houston's bullpen. So, as we sit here at 9:16 Central Time, they've made 2 deals. Luis Arraez just got traded. He's heading to the Phillies from the San Francisco Giants. The Yankees have made a couple moves. The Mets have made a couple moves. I'm assuming the Mets are going to make a few more, considering they're not very good. So we'll stay on top of that to see what other big names. But Scooble, the biggest one, is a Dodger. And it's not good for anybody, except if you're a Dodger fan. If you like domination, then you're on board with that. If you like to see some competition played, it's not ideal that the Tigers made that deal with L.A. But everybody was in their willpower to do it, right? It's not like it was exclusivity for L.A. just to trade with Detroit. Anybody could have done it. The Dodgers stepped up, so you got to give them the nod on that. It just doesn't look good for anybody else, frankly, or the sport. If all the good players are on one team, it's not great. All the good players are not on the Minnesota Lynx, although they have 3 of the very best. Yesterday, what a matchup. We teased it on Friday for what to watch. The Indiana Fever were coming to Minneapolis yesterday. One of the hottest teams going against the hottest team. The Lynx had won 9 in a row heading into the game yesterday. That was the backdrop with Caitlin Clark coming to town, Sophie Cunningham and her antics coming to town as well. What a game. Kelsey Mitchell plays for Indiana. She's also really good. Cans a 3. Put the Fever up early in this game. Lynx are up 5. Mitchell drives and scores. Cuts it to a 3-point game. Back up by 5. How about Mitchell with a step back 3 in your eye? That's a really tough shot. It's a 2-point Minnesota lead after 1. Move to the second. Now Olivia Miles starts to show off. How about her own step back 3 over Monique Billings? We talked about this, and I said it yesterday on social media. She's not the Rookie of the Year. She's the MVP. If Minnesota ends up running away with things, why wouldn't she be? Here, Nafisa Collier drains a corner 3. She made 3 of those yesterday. Had 18. Put the Lynx up double digits. Then it was Caitlin Clark's time. You knew the Fever were going to make a rally. They were down 14. Now it's down to 7. That's a fabulous pass underneath to Mitchell. Now it's down to 5. Fever have got it to 4 when Miles, how about that drive and the foul? Like, she palmed the ball and scored. It was fantastic. Courtney Williams drives, hits a floater in the lane. That was the dagger for Minnesota. Lynx make it 10 in a row, 108 to 100 the final. All 5 starters in double figures. Miles had 28, Courtney Williams 27, McBride had 10, Collier 18, Natasha Howard had 13. For the best team in the league now, 25-6. Clark had 19. Mitchell was phenomenal. She had 37, as you see. on the scoreboard yesterday, but the Lynx are victorious. And they got another big game coming up later this week. The LA Sparks are coming to town. They just made a large trade as well. That is on Amazon Prime coming up on Thursday. So no shortage of some drama yesterday involving the two Minnesota sports teams. We have a packed show coming up for you here today on our Monday morning as we get a new week started. We'll do our best of the weekend coming up in just a few minutes. I have confirmed that Kolpack will be here. If you are a frequent viewer of our show, I thought he was here last week. He was not, but I've confirmed he will be here this morning at 9:35 as we talk week one of Bison Camp and on to week two with some interesting names to keep an eye on. And we'll talk ticket sales as well. Bison single-game ticket sales went on Saturday, and nothing is officially sold out yet. We'll ask Jeff if that's a surprise to him in just a few minutes. At 10 o'clock, Steve Laqua will join us. It's opening day of Dragon Fall Camp. The Dragons I mentioned earlier play their first game on August the 27th against Northern Michigan. We'll chat about the 2026 team with a nod to his 2025 starting quarterback who's taking reps with the Atlanta Falcons right now. That's coming up at 10 o'clock. And at 10:35, West Fargo-Moorhead standout Cason Borchardt will join us after announcing his flipping of commitment from Oregon to Georgia Tech. He's got another year to play high school ball before he then heading off to the ACC. Georgia Tech just produced Von Laqua, who the Minnesota Twins took with the number 3 overall pick. It's a great baseball program. We'll talk with Cason about that coming up at 10:35. That and a heck of a lot more here over the next hour and 40 minutes or so. We'll take our first break. We come back. We'll salute our best of the weekend, which ranges from the mat to the diamond. That's coming up when Hot Mike returns on a Monday morning. We are back right after this. All right, best of the weekend. We got to hustle through this after we were delayed getting on the air, but we'll give our props to what we saw over the weekend. We'll begin out in West Fargo on Friday night. The Stampede at the Stable return, which is a really neat event. We previewed this. We chatted about it last year when the guys were here in studio. It's gotten even bigger for a wrestling event that they have under the lights out in West Fargo. And they had nearly 400 wrestlers that came out and battled under the lights on Friday night. It was a great scene out there. They had wrestlers from all over, both North Dakota, Minnesota, some far away is Iowa that decided to come, California. It was a great deal. The fact of the matter to me is they get it done under the lights, which has got to be really neat. And they're outside. It just doesn't happen for this sport. Tip of the hat to organizer Chad Clemenson, who's done this for the last couple of years. It just keeps getting bigger and better, and you can see from the amount of people out there, it was pretty darn cool. So congratulations to those guys again for making that happen. Also from over the weekend, yesterday, breaking news, a Cullen's going to play hockey at the University of Minnesota. The youngest is going to join his older brothers. Joey Cullen announced yesterday his commitment to play hockey at the University of Minnesota. Now, Joey is a 2028 commit, so he's still got a couple years left of school. He's going to play that out at the U.S. national team, the development program in Michigan. But his stats alone just demand attention here, and his highlight reel is pretty darn good as well. He joins the U17 squad this winter. His older brothers, of course, Wyatt and Brooks, are already committed to play there at the University of Minnesota. 40 points on 19 goals and 21 assists for the Spuds in 18 games this past season and helping the Spuds win a second straight state hockey championship. He missed a chunk of games in the middle of the season with an injury in December against Minnetonka. Now, we got tipped on this earlier on. His older brother Wyatt said, hopefully my younger brother Joey will commit there soon and we'll all play together someday, he told NHL Network Radio. That's after he was selected by the Predators in the June draft. So we may have been tipped on this, that this was going to happen for Joey, but congratulations to him that he joins his older brothers at the University of Minnesota. There's a rash of Spuds, whether it's football or hockey, they're going to be down at the University of Minnesota. Congrats are also in order to Fargo Post 2. They did it again. They had to do it the hard way. on Saturday afternoon in winning the AA State Legion Championship. It wasn't easy. West Fargo came out of the loser's bracket and actually won the first game, took a lead until the bottom of the 7th inning. Caden Nelson tied it, and then Carson Sheik here at the plate would deliver the base hit to win the game and the state title for Post 2 in walk-off fashion. 4-3 ends West Fargo's run. The Patriots had won it back-to-back years. Post 2's first title since 2023. They're heading off to the Central Plains Regional, which is later this week, out in Mandan. I mean, they have two teams that are just loaded with talent. And they played right to the end there as Post 2 ends up winning it on Saturday afternoon at Jack Williams Stadium in thrilling fashion. Congrats to them. And as I mentioned, they're off to the Central Plains Regional, which gets going on Thursday. Team from Rapid City will be there. Mandan is there as the host. The team from Dubuque, Iowa is there. Excelsior, Minnesota is also represented. Just 6 teams in the Central Plains Regional. It's down. It had been 8 that 2 teams from South Dakota would go. 2 teams from North Dakota would be there. Just 6, though, for this year's event out in Mandan. Lastly, if you did not stay up late last night, we featured them on our newscast last week. Shout out to the Fargo 13U team that's playing in the Intermediate World Series. Now, what's the Intermediate World Series? That is a step above the Little League World Series. Little League sponsors it, but this is an older age bracket where the pitching mound is 50 feet away instead of, I think it's 40 for Little League. And the base paths, the bases are 70 feet away instead of regulation 90. This team was a win away from going to Williamsport last year. Now they're out in California playing a team from Westchester, Pennsylvania last night. Hayden Holman, the big lefty, was sensational. Saw a strikeout here. Now, Fargo didn't do anything in this game until the 5th inning. The Pennsylvania starter didn't allow anything, and then he lost control in the 5th. They're a bases-loaded walk, got their first run of the game. Then an opposite field hit here will get the second run in to tie the game. They play 7 innings, not 6 like in traditional Little League. They play 7 here. Bases loaded in the 5th. Holman will come in on this wild pitch. He's safe, helping out his own cause. He pitched into the 7th inning, threw over 100 pitches. He had to be pulled out of the game in the 7th because he was reached his maximum pitching limit here. He got a little help here from himself, helping him out in the 6th inning. That's a nice play in the field to keep it a 3-2 lead going to the 7th. Then his twin brother came in to get the final out of the game. Fargo wins it 3-2. They will play again tonight in the winner's bracket. Tournament going on in California. That game is 9 o'clock tonight on ESPN Plus. So you got to stay up late again. But shout out to the kids from Fargo. They're doing it again. The Fargo Little Leaguers, the 12U, will leave later this week for Indiana and that regional to try and get a shot at Williamsport. We'll visit with them coming up later this week. That's our best of the weekend. We do it each and every Monday at 9:20. We'll break. We come back. Our guy Jeff Kolpack will join us. Updates on week 1 of Bison Fall Camp, what we're looking to this week as well. Lots more when Hot Mike returns on a Monday. We're back right after this.
This is Hot Mike. Hot Mike. On the networks of WDAY. Here's Dom Izzo. It's that time. An author.
Offensive production, number 1. Number 2. I forgot.
Golfer.
It'd be like going on a 3-person best shot, and we were saying, Kolpack, you got to make a 25-footer every time. You wouldn't putt first. I'd have Tim putt first.
And one heck of a TV personality.
This game is for the Cooper Cup.
It's the Forum's Jeff Kolpack.
4. I should have yelled 2.
Here he is, folks. He's in studio. I confirmed it last night with him that he was going to be by. Our guy Jeff Kolpack. His appearance is brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. Good morning.
Am I on double secret probation? A little known codicil
So
and the Izzo.
normally,
hot mic.
as soon as I go to break, you pop in about 20 seconds, 30 seconds afterwards. So
Well, here's what happened.
Last week I did it, and well, that's odd. Well, maybe he's talking to Stace. No, we got to look like texted. No, I'm not here.
Here's my excuse. So you were on jury duty the previous week, and I was talking to Sam about it. And then I forgot I was talking to Sam about it. I thought maybe it was you. I don't know. I was just a little distracted by all the logistics of the bike route we were doing, and I just I apologize. How many times do I have to apologize? I mean,
That's it. We're done. We got it on air one. So tell us what you did though last week.
Oh yeah, we did. Me and my bike buddies did the Masabi Trail. It's just a gorgeous bike route. All paved trails are mostly paved except for a little minute section.
Okay.
Grand Rapids, Minnesota to Ely, Minnesota, which is about 138 miles, something like that. Did it over 2 days.
You're way up there too. That's northern Minnesota.
Yeah, ran into a trail worker and a guy named Dan Spaeth and what they do is they help clear the trail. Like there's a tree down in front of us, and he had this shovel. I go, "What are you doing?" He goes, "Clearing that bear sign." I go, "Oh, the bear not only does number 2 in the woods, apparently it does it on the trail." I go, "Oh, how many bears out here?"
Yeah.
And I got mocked by one of my best college friends who we stayed with in Chisholm, or at a lake outside of Chisholm, because I brought bear spray. He goes, "What are you doing bringing bear spray? You don't need, they're not going to be bothering you." And then I run into a guy who's clearing bear dung.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Yeah, they're here all the time."
Well, that's cool. And you did in the heat, the humidity last week.
It got a little testy.
That sounds gross to me.
At least it wasn't smoky. It didn't smell
up
smoke
that part
or anything.
of the world. Yeah, well, that's cool. What's the furthest you've ever, well, you did that thing through Iowa.
Right.
You did that through Iowa a few years ago.
7
right?
days,
Yeah.
480 miles or something, 450.
That's good for you, man. That's awesome. That's cool stuff. So here we are. It's August. Football is officially upon us. The Bison started fall camp last week. I wanted to ask you, you did a feature on Makai Collins, who's a guy that may have gone, I don't know if under the radar is the right way to say it over the last couple of years, but obviously he was in a wide receiver room with Bryce Lance and Raja Nelson and Chris Harris and Braylon Henderson. And Makai was a really high-profile recruit. Remember, Kansas State offered him, and he chose to come to Fargo, and now it's his time, Jeff, as the most experienced guy in terms of years here at NDSU.
Well, it has to be his time. This is it for him. Right. As far as we know on eligibility, I think he's done after this year. Who knows? But he's got the NFL body. He does. He's 6'4" and 210 or 215. I'm not sure about he showed some speed last year when he was healthy. But
he certainly got the height, and he made a couple catches when the cameras had to be off on both Wednesday and Friday. Like, all right, there he went up and got it. And his relationship with Nathan Hayes, he spoke to both of us about, is pretty extensive. This is a rapport that they want to take advantage of when the season gets going.
Well, again, for both of them, too.
Right.
This is it for eligibility and making it one season. And what better way to do it in FBS? The Bison have plenty of, I think, those shorter receivers, slot guys, with apparently in McCants, there were transfers.
Patterson as well.
Patterson's one. Yep. Jackson Williams.
Yep.
Although 5'11", he's got some ability to go up and get it. But for as far as the 6'3" Bryce Lance, the 6'3" Christian Watson,
right.
Those Chris Harris was 6'3".
Yep.
Makai is
pretty much it on that one.
He's the red zone guy, other than the tight ends, of course.
Right. Kessel, I think Kessel and Cunningham, and I already saw Cunningham being used in that during a couple of team drills last week. But that's it in terms of like the real size, especially at the wide receiver position. He's got to stay on the field. Talking about Makai, that's what's really tripped him up over the last couple of years. Has been the injury bug, and we asked him about that, and he says he's healthy and ready to go. He's got to be able to stay out there. That's a big, big deal for the Bison at wide receiver.
Yeah, it's a big deal, and it's just he's a good dude, man.
Yes.
He's such a nice guy. Yep. You just hope that he, just for that sake alone, and everything he's put in it. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. Now, you mentioned the eligibility piece, and Friday was a cluster, of what went down. Apparently, the Protect College Sports Act.
Where are we at in the last 2 minutes?
So, the Protect College Sports Act, which we thought was going to be died on the vine, evidently some sort of negotiation happened that the Big Ten and the SEC are now behind it because the Senate, I'm not a great political mind, the Senate goes for an August recess this week. But Majority Leader John Thune, the senator from South Dakota, is ready to put this in clouture, which means it gets to a vote. And if it gets to a vote, then it will pass the Senate. I don't know about the House.
It will pass the House, I think.
Who knows? And that you'd think. And if it passes the House, then it will go to Trump's desk and they'll sign it. And that will change. Eligibility will be, there will only be one more transfer. You only get one transfer and then no more unlimited. You have to sit out a year if this goes through. Now, that being said, then there was a judge in Colorado that threw out a decision Friday night that voided the new 5 for 5 to say all these guys that wanted eligibility that graduated in May are suddenly now eligible. But part of that came out yesterday is that if you signed a pro contract, you're done. Your eligibility's over. You can't transfer. So the only way you can go back is to your said school. Now, I looked over the Bison football and basketball, men's basketball rosters like 3 times. If I missed anybody, there's nobody left, Jeff, that'll have any eligibility. Abby Graham, if she wanted to, Abby Graham could come back under this provision unless it gets
It's the 2022
overturned.
freshman class.
Right, and didn't redshirt. You have to have played 4 years. She could come back and play another year. What is really interesting is down in Brookings, because Brooklyn Meyer, we know, is going to play volleyball this fall for the Jackrabbits. Under this ruling, she could come back and play basketball this winter for the Jacks. And I did a little more digging.
Yeah.
The Jacks only have 12 players on their roster. You're allotted 15. So I don't know if AJ was counting on this. Some of the Jack fans were tweeting at me about it. Well, maybe this was deep-seated planning, but that's I tried to sum it up the best way I could in about 3 minutes. It's a lot, man. It's a lot happening.
Right now, everybody's head out there is exploding with all your explanation. How does a judge in Colorado have that much power?
Well, that's a great question. Again, I'm not a great legal mind.
I'm not either, but can Tristan Vandersteek over here, can he all of a sudden come up with a ruling? I mean,
I don't know about that, but the NCAA is obviously asking for a stay in this. We'll see. But there's suddenly a bunch of 2022 enrollees or 26 grads that are hoping, hey, I may have, because that was the sticky wicket. When they were we talked about this on the 5 for 5 thing. When are they going to start it and who's going to be left out? And it ends up being this most recent senior class that is obviously left out on the cold on it.
If I'm a Bison fan, I go to Tristan and go, we need a ruling to make them not eligible in Brookings. Can you overturn what this Colorado judge?
Now, on the other side of the eligibility piece, I visited with Elijah Wayne and Ryan Babbitts on Friday. And those are two guys that thought after last year, Jeff, they'd only have 3 years left to play. But now with this new eligibility, the 5 for 5, they have another year. And both of them were grinning ear to ear because this time last year, we thought Babbitts was going to play. We knew Elijah Wayne was going to play. We just didn't know how much. Turned out quite a bit. Now they have another year. Whether they spend it here is a different discussion.
True.
But they have another year to play now.
Jackson Williams.
Totally. Donovan Woolen.
Preston Brown.
Yep. Donovan Woolen's in that group. So that's a big deal.
It affects a good 5, 6, 7 Bison football players.
Which is a huge deal going forward. On top of the fact now they're playoff eligible, that they can contribute in ways that Preston Brown we didn't think would play this year. He's going to play. Obviously, we knew Babbitts, Wayne, Woolen, Williams are all going to play, but how much they spend in Fargo, that's a decision for another time. But that changes how the roster looks going forward this year.
Well, the fact their FBS might be another
maybe swayed them there. Yep.
Carrot to stay here.
Mm-hmm. Totally on that.
NDSU's NIL has gotten better. But again, if the big boys come with 900,000 or whatever, then
it's going to go.
Done deal.
Before we break, is there a couple storylines you're keeping an eye on this week or people you're going to talk to? What are you working on this week?
Doing something on the running backs.
Okay.
Heading out there today with obviously DJ Scott as one, but is Money Mitchell in the mix?
I think definitely he's certainly
Do they go
in
1-2 or do they DJ's gotten bigger. He looks big enough to handle.
DJ looks bigger, looks quicker. Miles certainly. Pooney is definitely. I had my story with Naoti Pooney last night, the transfer from Holy Cross.
I look at his stats last year, and he wasn't even the starting running back at Holy Cross.
I'm telling you right now, he can fly. Being out there at practice and seeing him physically, you'll see him today.
I've seen him. I know. I've seen him. But I think I need to see it in a game.
Well, yeah, we have to do that with all the transfers. I'm talking physically, though. He looks the part. Whether that's...
But why didn't he start last year?
Well, I'll tell you, he was a track guy. So he's been acclimating to football for the last little bit.
So all of a sudden he magically comes here and in a few months goes to back up at Cornell to Holy Cross.
Ryan Napoli told me they transformed his body in 3 months since he's been here. So
again, I want to see it.
Right.
So, all right.
Can he pick up a first down on 3rd and 5? We'll find out.
Apparently fumbled the other day.
He did. I saw it with my own 2 eyes. He also was able to catch the ball out of the backfield, which is something that they have not had at that running back spot. Think of it. I mean, when's the last time they've had a real pass catcher out of the backfield? Marty Brown was with it. Are we going all the way back to
Crockett?
I was going to say Bruce Anderson.
Bruce
Anderson
is pretty good.
Bruce could do that.
Yep.
It's been a little bit where they've had a guy flex out and be able to catch. Dom Ganella did a little bit, but he had issues hanging out of the ball. This might be the one guy. So you're working on running backs.
Running
this
backs.
Week. Okay.
Yep.
Let's break. We got a bunch of emails coming in on ticket sales because Bison single game tickets went on sale Saturday. Nothing sold out yet. We'll discuss that with Jeff Kolpack. We come back and wrap up hour 1 right after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Wrapping up our first hour. Kolpack back with us. Email comes in. Hi, Dom. Aside from the Wyoming game, the ticket sales look to be a bit concerning. With a jump up to FBS, I thought there'd be a higher demand for tickets. Do you think that the price of attending games, marketing / people not knowing tickets are on sale, the ease of watching from home, lack of interest, or some combination of those factors is playing into it? So on Saturday, single game tickets went on sale, 8 a.m. Actually, we have up here on our computer screen here, this is the Jacksonville State. This is the, what is the end zone I'm looking at? East side of the dome, Kolpack, up at the top. There's still more than a smattering of tickets available here. Jack State's doing pretty well. Wyoming is doing pretty well. That's homecoming. But Nevada, Fordham, UTEP, Northern Illinois, you can still get a pretty good seat if you want it right now. What say you on that email?
Well, I wish I knew.
Yeah.
I don't know what else the athletic department can do. They go FBS. They got rid of how many times have you heard, I don't want to go because games are over at halftime, so, okay, fair. That's fine. Okay, well, now I don't think these games are going to be over at halftime.
Nope.
Maybe Fordham, but I don't think now this is a different deal. Maybe they're waiting. I don't know. Because remember the day when August 1st would come around and they'd be gone in 2 hours.
Couple hours.
The whole season.
Mm-hmm.
Whole season sold out. Is it money? The tickets didn't go up this year in price.
I mean, there's a combination for everything. Also, why people don't go to the games, because we've hammered this for time and memoriam as well on this particular topic.
Is it the dome?
It's probably some of it.
Yeah.
I think the actual facility comes into it too. I don't know. I thought it'd be a slam dunk. At least Jacksonville State would be donezo come Saturday, and that's not the case as we look at it here today. It's better than what it has been, but I don't know what else they're supposed to do. You know.
Well, again, it's obviously it's a combination of everything. Wi-Fi is.
I'll never get off that one.
Come on, the facility and the Forum had a great editorial the other day on. Okay, it's time. Come up with a plan here. You go into your reserve funds. Find some alternative. I don't know naming rights. I mean, the time is now.
Yes,
and I'm not a financial guy when it comes to figuring out how to pay for stuff on building repairs.
I love spending other people's money. I do it all the time. Yeah,
but we as Fargo residents, we need to do this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is your biggest asset. It's 34 years old.
Yeah, it's beyond time.
It's
beyond time to have something happen on this. I don't know. I think there's no, magic bullet to say this is exact reason. I do think, though, we found out something in the fall of 2020 when the Bison didn't play, that people found other alternatives to do with their time and money. We are now 6 full falls removed from that, but I still think that that's being felt. Like, you know what? I found other things to do. I'm okay. I can maybe watch the game on TV. I don't need to be up there for 9 hours. Maybe I'll tailgate, and then I'm going to go home and watch the game, or vice versa. I'm not tailgating, but I will go to the game. I wish there was one concrete thing. NDSU is definitely was stale for a bit. They have changed the game day part of it with, got rid of the helmet and all that, and I think they still can
did the walk.
Be fluid, right, can be fluid with some other things in terms of how it's presented on a game day. But the atmosphere of the Dome goes a long way on that. But competition isn't it. There's no Murray State or Indiana State on here. I got hammered with that forever. Well, I'm only going to watch Indiana State. Okay.
Yep.
UTEP's coming. Right? Northern Illinois, I get it. It's not the Air Force.
It's not UNLV.
UNLV and Hawaii aren't coming. All right, New Mexico's not here. I got you. But it ain't the other ones I just said either, right? We're not getting North Alabama coming here. To me, if you were worried about competition, I would suddenly – Jacksonville State, folks, is good. They are – it's not – people have it stuck in their minds about that 2015 title game, right?
No.
This Jack State team is good. That's coming in here to start.
Was Austin? Who was supposed to be the opener? Austin P.
The home opener?
Yeah.
East Tennessee State.
This is not East Tennessee.
It's not ETSU.
No,
because they ain't any good either this year. It was Central. It was going to be the Word, ETSU
at the Word
at Central Arkansas, and then Austin P. That was the 4 non-conference games before we got into the league.
They don't tilt the excitement meter at all anymore.
No.
Okay, so now the Bison moved up and. All right.
Yep. We'll see. I would anticipate home opener and homecoming with Wyoming will do well.
They will sell out, yeah.
The other ones, I would hope that's over 17. If not, we got a bigger issue than just competition.
It's the blue seats, Dom. No cup holders. Those blue seats are ugly.
And add in that last part you joked about. Wi-Fi's a deal, man.
I mean, it's not a pretty place right now anymore.
No, it's dank in there. Yeah, it's dark. Yeah, even they added to the lighting. I get it. I banged my head against the wall. I got this email right away this morning. I'm like, man, here we go. I thought that this would not be an issue with the first year of FBS
naming
football,
rights.
But
the Izzo Dome. I don't know.
I don't think anybody wants that, but. Here's the thing. What happens next year when Air Force and Hawaii and they come and it's still in that same boat? Like, okay, what are we doing?
Let's not get there just yet. I mean, it's August 3rd, so let's.
Yeah, I got you. But I guess I was of the impression, like I said off the top of the segment, I thought Jack State would have been, like you said, the old days. Dunzo. Homecoming. Dunzo. It's not yet. Doesn't mean it's not going to happen, but just thought the thirst was there for a new season of ball. Great. Thanks for coming by today. Appreciate you making your time slot. That
was a little sarcasm there.
We'll see you out at camp this week, all right? Jeff Kolpack joins us each and every Monday at 9:30. His appearances are brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. We'll break. We come back. We'll start our second hour. Dragons open up fall camp today. Our guy Steve Laqua will join us, chat about that. And Jack Strand taking reps with the Falcons. That's coming up when we come back.
This is Hot Mic with Dom Izzo, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
All right, off and rolling hour 2 here on a fast-moving Monday morning show. It is opening day of practice over in Moorhead today for Minnesota State University Moorhead. The Dragons begin the 2026 season as they'll be playing a football game in 24 days. They play week 0 in Division II against Northern Michigan. Our guy Steve Laqua joining us here on a Monday on the first day of fall camp to get going for another year across the river with the Dragons. I got to tell you, though, first thing here, I wake up Thursday morning, my timeline's blowing up because the Falcons have no quarterbacks left, and Jack Strand is taking QB1. What has your phone been like over the last 4 days?
Well, it was definitely a crazy surprise to see that this morning, and or not this morning, but that morning looking at it, it was just, and then you start thinking about it, and you're like, you know what, there is only 32 guys that get to do that. And it doesn't matter how you get there. Like, maybe Tom Brady is never Tom Brady if Drew Bledsoe doesn't get hurt. Like, you have to get an opportunity somewhere, and I get that this doesn't mean that he's necessarily a QB1 because he got in maybe by injury, but it gives him that opportunity to earn respect, to get reps, to get better. And when you look at it, he's a developmental guy, right? He's got to grow into being an NFL quarterback. And what better way than instead of maybe 2 reps a day, now he's getting 9, 14 throws per day in team. Couldn't be a better situation for him this first week of fall camp. And really, he's kind of the storybook, I think. He's the guy that people don't think exists.
Yeah.
Like, you listen to some of the banter on the NFL guys, and he must be terrible because he stayed in Division II, which means he couldn't find a Division I option. And he's a guy nobody believes exists. And so I think it can be a heck of a story. I said, you know what? It's going to be a great story someday, pre-Super Bowl, when he's getting ready to play, and they can go through it. And hopefully it gets to that point. I don't know. Maybe that's a big dreamer, but he's gotten a long way that people didn't think he could get this far anyway. So he'll just keep doing it, I hope.
Steve, you had a chance to talk to him over the last couple days?
We chatted back and forth, mostly on text because he's been so busy, and it's been awesome. And I feel like I'm still maybe help coaching him a little bit. I watched his interviews and give him a little bit of coaching back on, hey, this was good, and there's some things maybe you want to cut out the some of these words are kind of filler words or whatever. But he's so great, and he's going through so many challenges there of just making it as a rookie, making it as a Division II player, trying to be in this media spotlight as a QB1 and whatever. And so he's handling it great. Seems like the adjustment is good, and he's everything that those guys want him to be. And hopefully he just continues to do that and plays well in the preseason.
It's wild to see him, especially under center. Is that a little weird as well to see him taking reps under center?
That is a little weird, but hey, he's doing a good job with it. And he loved Aaron Rodgers, so he's got pretty good Aaron Rodgers fake the other day, and fooled the defensive end and got outside the pocket. So he learned a few things. If it wasn't from MSU, at least from the Packers.
Selfishly, how big a deal is this for your program? I know you're out recruiting, and I've talked to a bunch of your local recruits over the last few weeks, and they all mentioned Jack. How big a deal is this for you now as you start fall camp today?
Well, I think it's really big in the recruiting process, and I think a lot of people look at it and go, oh, that's a big deal maybe for future quarterbacks to see. They can come in, they can get developed, they get a lot of reps. There's some things that we do here that can maximize their potential to transition into an NFL offense. But I think the bigger thing that is a broader hit on people is, why did this guy stay? Mm-hmm. What was it that made him turn down 6 figures in Division I opportunities to be here for another year? And it wasn't just about throwing the ball. And so they look into it. I think they see a lot of value in the program. And while a lot of these guys aren't going to have NFL options, they do see that, wow, there is value here for their college experience, for what they're going to get out of Division II. And I think that's where it's helped us a lot.
I got to ask you, I know you can't be specific on the amount of local talent you've got for the 27 class. What does that say about what you've done on the ground locally to make sure those guys stay here and play for you?
Well, it's been really important, and we've said that from the beginning. I think that was part of the reason, coming as a high school coach in the community to MSUM, and just feeling like when I was on the other side from the college game to the high school game, seeing how many local players that I felt maybe weren't getting the opportunity in the local region to be able to play, that we felt like as a whole the college coaches had to go to Florida or Texas or California to find enough talent to play here. And I just felt like a guy that was of the area, grew up in the area, has seen that there is enough talent that we could bring it here. And that's been, close to our heart the whole time that we've gone through. And so us, it's very important. And I think that's the awesome thing about the level of football has gotten so much better in Fargo-Moorhead. That just makes us even better. And I mean, you look at, what Kevin's doing with the Spuds, you look at the Division I players, there's Division II players. I think it's a great opportunity, and hopefully those guys have seen, if I'm not going to become a Bison or a Gopher, this is a really good opportunity in the region, and it's really good football, and it's a great program.
All right, 2026 officially starts today, later with your first practice. What are we going to see out of the Dragons over the next month?
Well, I think you're going to have the roster in your hand to figure out who are these guys and what are the numbers. I think we've had a pretty good beat on who was in what jersey numbers and who was playing for the last few years. I think it's a bunch of who's that guy out there? Who is this? So we feel like that a little bit too. I was hoping at the end of spring we'd have a little bit more of that solidified. I don't think we have, which is okay. I feel like we got from toddler stage to middle school, and we're kind of in the awkward, we got to figure out what to do and how to do it. And so we've got 3 good weeks to be able to do that. I feel like our senior group is small, but I do think they have some good game insight and some good experience that they can galvanize this group, and we're going to have to do that. And if we can't, it's going to be a long season. If we can, I think this group's got a chance to be special. They just don't know how much they're young, and so we'll see how it goes.
Everyone's going to look and ask you about quarterback. I'll be the first. What's your quarterback situation look like here?
Well, honestly, I think it's a really good situation in the sense of I think we have a lot of depth there. So if you look as a whole, I think in the conference, a lot of people would be happy to say, wow, their quarterback depth from top to bottom. I would be really happy with that. Now, do we have a starter that's going to play at the level of Jack Strand come game one? No, we don't. Do we have a starter that we feel like has the job for sure right now? No, I think if we played and went into a game today, we're probably playing two quarterbacks. I think Drew Hebner had a great spring. I think Timmy Guler was having a great spring until he got injured. So we're going to see if he can continue that trajectory. Joey Calais started in our spring scrimmage against Bemidji, did a great job. So I think it's going to be quite a battle. But at the end of the day, I know we're going to have a competent, capable quarterback. Who is it going to be? I don't know. Is it going to be more than one? Maybe. But whoever is calling for the ball out of the shotgun, not under center, but out of the shotgun, is going to be competent, and we're going to be able to win football games with them.
When do you want to have a decision by?
Well, at the latest, you're hoping when we get about 10 days out from the first game, when we get into prep, we're going to try and keep things very mixed up as we've had it. And we've found over the years, in the last 3 to 4, we don't go first group and second group. We split them up even. And I think that's created a high level of competition, a high level of belief that you can compete. It doesn't put the second guy, if you're the second quarterback playing behind the second O-line, you're like, oh, great, how do I show anything? I can't even get time to throw. Yeah. This keeps it pretty equal, allows guys to produce and show what they can do. And we're going to do that as long as we can until we got the starters solidified, and then we'll break into game week and go from there.
Drew Hebner was pretty highly touted out of Morris, Minnesota. Give us a little background on him. 6'2", he's got a good frame. He's got the size for it, Steve. What stands out when you've seen him under center, when he's taking reps at quarterback?
Well, here's the thing. When the scouts were here looking at Jack, a large number of them would look over and say, well, it looks like you found your next Jack here. And I'm like, hey, he's just a red shirt. Like he's not playing, but they could see the size and the way the ball popped off his arm. He was a great pitcher, high 80s, low 90s throwing the football. Yeah. So he can do that. I would say his ability to run in the pocket and be strong are very similar to Jack. So I think there's a lot of things that translate. And so I think that's what's exciting. I think, when you look at, he saw how Jack did it and how he made through the reads and progression. So hopefully he can take some of Jack's game and kind of put it into his game. We do have to quicken up his release and get him there. That's the thing that's holding him back right now.
Now, everyone knows on the eligibility side in Division I, the 5-for-5 is now a deal. Looks like in Division II, that may be voted on sometime this week. Does that change with your true freshmen on campus, maybe what your plans are for them this fall if that goes through?
Well, I think we're expecting that it'll pass. So we're kind of like, okay, there's no limit on games.
Yeah.
Does that change it a ton? Well, no, if you're not able to play, you're not able to play. We're not going to play you just because the NCAA says you can have a fifth year. But it does allow not so many maybe difficult decisions on, should we use game 5 or not? Like, yeah, if we want to, we do. And if we don't, great. And it allows a lot more flexibility, a lot less of the moral dilemmas that a coach gets in on, like, oh, are we going to use this kid's year right now for one game? And so I think that's a good thing. We'll see how it plays out. I think it'll pass. We just have to have a plan for how does that look and how do we get these guys developed? Because before you could start them 4 games, take them out,
right,
bring another wave in for the next 4 games that we're going to play. Well, now you don't need to do that. So it does change kind of your big picture plan of how you're going to play freshmen.
Is there some guys that have not been asked to have large roles that now you're going to count on? Maybe even defensively you're looking at, say, okay, we need you to be an even bigger piece here in 2026.
Well, I think there's going to be a lot of guys like that when you graduate 24 seniors and names that you look at, hearing all the time. You look at on offense, we've got 4 returners on offense, but 2 of them are both the running backs that each started when the other was hurt. So 3 out of 11 spots, about 4 spots on defense. So there's going to be a lot of guys that have not played a lot of football that are going to be out there. They're going to get their names called, and they're going to be new names, but they're going to become the new household names of Dragon football. And I think there's going to be a lot of local people that are like, hey, I remember that guy. I haven't heard his name for a couple years, but I remember him. And I think that's what's going to be exciting about this team.
All right. So when do you get hoarse? When do you lose the voice? Is it like later this week? What's the normal timing on that for fall camp?
Yeah, by about Wednesday, late morning. That'll be after the 3rd practice. That's where the voice becomes shot. So I've got about 48 hours here where I'm going to be.
See, that's why we did it today. I didn't want to wait till later in the week. I wanted to get you when you're in top form here.
That's a veteran move. I don't know if it's top form. I don't know if I have top form, but I have form. I've been told that. So.
You've done this for a while. Do you still get the butterflies, jitters on day one? What are the emotions for you as a head coach?
Without a doubt, day one is really it's nerve-wracking in the sense it feels scatterbrained because the routine isn't in the routine. Even though you've done it, you're like, okay, we got these meetings, we got to get to practice. The freshmen have no idea what's going on, so practice just looks like it's just chaos out there because they're running. You're like, oh, jeez. An efficient drill becomes very inefficient. They don't really know the plays, which is fine. I feel like day one, you just want to finish it, get it done, and be like, oh, thank goodness. But there's also a level of, with a young team, where this year there's more nerves than last year in the sense of, well, let's see how practice one went, see what hit the wall, where it stuck, and like, how far away are we from the target? And I know that, in years past, I'm like, I know about where this target's going to hit. Now I'm like, hopefully the dart hits the dartboard somewhere. I don't know. So, but come 4:30, 5 o'clock, I'll at least have an idea if we hit the dartboard and then what our journey needs to be from there.
I got to ask here, you have 2 Thursday night home games to start the season. How big a deal is that to get some momentum rolling here at home on non-traditional game days?
Well, I think it's great that they're both home games, and it works out because of the Labor Day weekend, not wanting to play Saturday of Labor Day, and opening being on Thursday. So it makes sense that it's 2 Thursdays. The challenge is it's against 2 opponents that have 2 new coaching staffs, so we don't know exactly what we're going to get, which is maybe okay with the young team. They don't know what they're going to get from us. We don't know what we're going to do, so it's like, okay, we're going to have to figure something out. But then it kind of allows that. Then you got a kind of a 10-week break or 10-day break before you go on the road for the first time with the young group to Sioux Falls. So I do like how it's playing out. I'm really glad they're at home. Thursday, I think playing on the road, the first Thursday and turning around, that becomes really tough just from a travel day. You lose a day of travel and tired and whatever. So I'm glad that it's working out how it has.
Is the traditional power still the same from what you know in the Northern Sun in 2026?
Yeah, I think, your Mankato's and your Duluths are the ones, and I haven't seen the preseason poll, but if it's anything like the last 14 years, whoever finished 1 will be 1 this year in the preseason and 2 and vice versa, everything plus or minus 1. I think obviously people look and go, we lost so much, so we probably take a dip a little bit in expectations there, but that's okay. It doesn't matter what the outside world thinks. That's why you play the game, and hey, you just got to be better on that Saturday than the team you're playing.
How about for yourself, knowing how to reshuffle those expectations? Have you had a couple really nice years with obviously historic talent to say, okay, we want to build on that momentum, but you're trying not to take a step back with such a young team, with so many new guys on the roster?
Well, I think that's the challenge of to not let that be an excuse of, oh, we're young and it's okay. Like, no, let's hold the line. Like, we got to 8 wins last year. Let's set that as an expectation. We need to be there regardless of if Jack Strand's throwing the ball or not. Well, if he's not, then somebody else has to pick up the slack somewhere. And maybe it's not throwing it 65 times a game, but maybe the run game's going to have to pick up or the defense is going to have to play better. And so we've got to do, we've got to get the sum to be more than the parts. And I think we can do that. And it can look, the aggregate's got to be more equal or more. And I think we can do that. It's just going to come a little bit from everybody instead of a lot from one guy, so to say.
If you're not throwing it 65 times a game, are you going to go into the shakes or something afterwards? Like, are you going to be all right?
I don't know. I might actually get a call from some of the NDSU alumni, and they'll allow me back into the fraternity because I've been kicked out of that, of not allowed. So
you've been cast aside now because of how you run your offense.
Oh yeah, for quite a while. But I remember talking to Tyler Roll, and he was like, "I just called too many pass plays in this game," and I looked and it was like, he called 24. I was like, Tyler, come on. Try calling 3 times that many. Like, that's maybe too many. So
I know your quarterbacks are going to be like pitchers, like baseball pitchers. They got to get iced up after practice, right?
We are going to have to do that, and that's the challenge, right? It's you throw a lot, but you have to develop a young guy.
Yeah.
You need to get a lot of throws in practice, but you got to keep him healthy. And that's one of the things I've noticed with Jack. You're watching that, and you're like, okay, he has to develop. But he threw 9 passes in team 8 the one day, and then 13. I'm like, how do you get a guy to develop if you only throw the ball?
Good question.
Times and 4 of them were screens.
Correct. Yep.
So you do have to find a way to develop talent, and so the arm's got to have a little bit of endurance.
2 last things here. Can you give us an early jersey update? What you guys are doing for week 1, or you don't know yet?
Yeah, traditionally we have been red tops for home game on the opener. So I would imagine we're going to be red top. I would hope we're either red or white bottom. I think the red top with the black bottoms looks terrible, but I don't have a final say on that. So
say it again.
I don't know if I have a lot to say.
Red and black.
Yeah, the red top with the black pants,
no,
but
no.
I don't know if I have a lot to say about fashion. I wear pretty much the same thing every day, and I have for 25 years. So.
Last thing, we do a production meeting. Can you talk to your agent? Can we get you back on Tuesdays again when the season gets going? I mean, this is a tradition. I don't want to stop it.
It's a tradition like none other, and so I think we've got to give the people what they want, even if it's only 2 or 3 people that want that. No, I love it. It's one of the best parts of my week. I've told you before, you do a great job. I love being able to talk about our program and the kids in it, but it's a chance to get out and relax and talk like friends, and I think that's really cool. And
all right. I love that.
People get to watch it and get a little insight into what's going on.
A lot of people have feedback giving me that they love having you on and they love how transparent you are. So let's do it. We'll make sure it's in the books here for 2026. Good luck today. Hope everybody stays healthy. We'll talk when we get closer to game 1 then, okay?
Sounds great. Thank you.
There he is, Steve Laqua, longtime head coach at Minnesota State University Moorhead. The Dragons open practice later today. Game 1 is Thursday, August the 27th against Northern Michigan. You got it all planned out here for, because you go watch the Dragons on Thursday. The Bison play at home Saturday that week. You got high school football sandwiched in between on Friday the 28th. You're all set. Their first 2 games, I mentioned, are on Thursday nights, August the 27th with Northern Michigan, and then September the 3rd against Concordia St. Paul. Good stuff there. All right, let's break. We got a bunch of emails coming in on the ticket sales up at the Dome. I'll try to explain again on what a judge in Colorado did to just throw eligibility up in the air. We'll do that when Hot Mike returns on a Monday morning. We're back after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Thanks to Coach Laqua for giving us a few minutes. Looking forward to having his weekly segment back with us on Tuesdays during the upcoming college football season. All right, so let's clarify a little bit on what happened this weekend, in case you missed it or in case it makes your head spin like it does me and many, many others on following the eligibility cases and the numerous lawsuits that are surrounding it. Judge in Colorado, Charlotte Sweeney, on Friday night granted a right for a bunch of athletes that were suing the NCAA about another year of eligibility after the 5-for-5 legislation was enacted and put the cutoff at this past graduating class. The ones that graduated in May were done. And this judge decided to flip that on its head and say anyone that had not signed a pro contract could return to college. But also added yesterday a hidden part of this that had to come out, said that you can't go in the portal. You can only return to your team, and if there is room for you to return, that was part of this order that came down on Friday. Reading the ESPN.com article, it says, extending it to players this fall granted hundreds a chance to return to school. In the direct aftermath of the decision, some media reports were listing players on NFL and CFL rosters who were signaling that they'd be open to returning to school. If they didn't make an NFL roster, hey, I'm going to go back to college making some more money, and then maybe my chances are better of making an NFL roster this time next year. That's not going to happen. But that appears to be off the table after Sweeney's clarification that said there are no changes to the NCAA's rules regarding pros, no exceptions over when athletes can enter the transfer portal, and no impact on elements of the landmark House lawsuit settlement, which dictates how many players teams can put on rosters and how much schools can pay them. Honestly, I don't blame people if their eyes roll to the back of their heads when they hear anything about this. We knew, though, there was going to be pushback when this came down from the most recent graduate class that, hey, you're SOL. You're out of luck. We're done. Your eligibility is over. We have to start this sometime. We're picking this as the line of demarcation to start our new policy. And I get you want to keep making money or have another chance to keep playing. I get it. But at some point, it's like it's time to start the real world. It's time to move on. And who knows? To me, when I saw, I'm like, wait, it's August. Teams are practicing now, right? Like, we know the roster. You're going to add in guys now. Really? Basketball is a whole other thing. Like, basketball, we're not there yet. But I can already see, like, with some teams, hey, they left spots open. We left this spot open that say, okay, well, if there's an opportunity for you to come back, we got a spot, which is sly in a way of doing it. It's smart. And there are some teams that could potentially take advantage of that. I've not spoken to anybody at South Dakota State. I'm just looking at what the rule is and what eligibility is. The Jacks have 12 rostered players for next season in women's basketball. Stands to reason if Brooklyn Meyer's already playing volleyball for you, which she intends to do this fall, then is she eligible to play basketball too? Because that'd be a heck of an addition that you get in August to your team that you weren't counting on. Fascinating to see it play out. We'll keep our eyes posted on what potentially could transpire there and other places. I can tell you, though, from what I have looked over, there are no Bison football players who would have any. We had a bunch of Bison players that had 6 years of eligibility. Like, they were done. They've been here 6 years. Most of them 5 in that most recent graduate class that they had redshirted and played 4. That means you're done. What we're talking about is if you only played 4 and didn't redshirt. And as far as certainly weren't any Bison men's basketball players that had that. All of them have already moved on. And there weren't any football players that fell under that distinction either. Something to keep our eyes on here in the coming days. It's just going to be a head-scratcher, folks. All right, let's break. We come back. We'll shift gears, talk some baseball with the top prospect in the state of North Dakota. Horace's Cason Borchardt will join us on flipping his commitment to Georgia Tech. The future Yellow Jacket will join us when we return.
This is Hot Mic with Dom Izzo, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Final half hour here on a busy Monday morning to start our week. Our next guest we had the pleasure of visiting with a while back when initially announced his commitment to play baseball at Oregon. We've had a chance to watch Cason Borchardt over the last couple of years just either tear the cover off the ball at West Fargo Horace or throw 90 miles an hour and strike out guys. And he announced last month he's flipped his commitment going from the Big Ten to the ACC. He'll play his college ball at Georgia Tech. And he joins us this morning to give us a recap of where life has been because he's been traveling all over the place. And now a future Yellow Jacket. It's great to see you. All right, give us the lowdown. Why the flip from Oregon to Georgia Tech?
Yeah, so one of the big reasons for committing to Oregon right away was their hitting coach, Jack Martyr. He was kind of my guy out there, and he was like one of the main reasons I wanted to go there. And about a month or two ago, he left to go to Texas. So then I kind of sat down with my family and just really talked about it, and we thought it would be best to see what else was out there. So decided to decommit, and ever since that, it was pretty cool to see, word gets around and all the coaches that start reaching out to me. So obviously Georgia Tech was one of the first ones to reach out, but then I also took visits to Auburn and Florida. So those are kind of my final 3, but then just love Georgia Tech, so I decided on them.
Cason, describe the phone call to Oregon to say I'm going to decommit. How difficult was that?
Yeah, I wasn't looking forward to it. Coach Waz is an awesome guy, and I have nothing but great things to say about Oregon. So yeah, just the call was hard. Just told him that, thanked him for everything, and that they have an awesome program, and just wish them the best of luck in the future.
So you just mentioned, obviously, I have to admit, was your phone on fire once you decommitted and people found out when word started to spread? Can take us through that time period?
Yeah, so actually like an hour or two after I got off the phone with Waz, one of the Coach Taylor from Georgia Tech called me. So word got around pretty fast, and then the next day I started getting texts and stuff like that. Obviously Auburn, Florida, and then other SEC and ACC schools started reaching out too, so that was pretty cool.
So you had already done this once already. Now you're back in it. How much did you use the past experience of the recruitment to help this time around?
Yeah, no, I definitely use it a lot. Going into this one, I already knew what I was looking for in a coaching staff and like the campus and things like that. So I think that helped right away, like narrowing it down. I didn't have to like kind of look for what I wanted in a school. I already knew what I wanted.
So I assume you put out there, hey, I want to hit and pitch, right? That was known to everybody that was recruiting you?
Yeah, no, it was. Every school, wanted me as a two-way, and Georgia Tech, obviously, they're giving me that chance. So I'm excited about that, and that should be awesome.
Now, I know you've been to Atlanta before, I know for travel stuff. So how much did you know about Georgia Tech going into this?
Yeah, so I think about 2 years ago, we actually just like walked around their campus because we were down there. We kind of do that a lot on baseball trips. We just walked around college campuses to see what I kind of liked and stuff. But yeah, no, their campus is super nice for being downtown Atlanta. Walking around campus, you wouldn't think you are. Like it's a really nice campus, and you don't get that big city feel even though you're actually in downtown Atlanta.
Well, obviously, people up here know they produce pretty good players. Von Laqua was just drafted number 3 by the Twins, who played at Georgia Tech. What do you know about their program and the kind of success? Because they've been at the top of the ACC for the last handful of years.
Yeah, so actually, when I was on my visit, I ate lunch with Von Laqua and Drew Burress.
Wow.
I think it was like the day or two before the draft, so that was really cool. Just talking to them and hearing their stories because they were both brought in as freshmen and developed by Coach Ramsey and their staff there. So just the way that they've been able to develop guys over the last few years and still have success in the ACC. I think back-to-back regular season champs, and then they won this tournament the last year. So obviously they've had a lot of success in the last few years.
That's a pretty good recruiting pitch to have those guys. What was that like?
Yeah, no, it was super cool. I didn't know about it. And then I got on campus and he was like, yeah, we're gonna eat lunch with Drew and Vaughn today. Just have them kind of talk to you. It was super cool. Just hearing about their experience and what they're going through was awesome.
They just happened to be here. We want to have lunch with them, right? I mean, come on. Was it on the spot, Cason, or did you go home and then call to commit?
No, I went home because Georgia Tech was my first visit that I took. I went to Auburn and then Florida after that. So this time around, I kind of want to take my time a little bit more with Oregon being my first visit that I took and kind of not rushing into it, but I kind of wanted to take a little bit more time before I made a decision.
What stood out? You saw those other schools. Those are great SEC programs. What said Atlanta, Georgia Tech is where I want to go?
I think it was my relationship with the coaching staff. Coach Ramsey and Taylor and Schulman. They're all great coaches, but even more, they're better people. And I just got that vibe when I was on campus talking with them, and just really felt like home and felt like a family.
So to go through it, I'm sure you weren't counting on doing this again. What does it feel like to have this a second time over now?
Yeah, no, it definitely is crazy. Obviously, I wasn't expecting it, but it's been really cool to see everything on the media and stuff like that. It's been really cool to see all the love and the feedback.
What is feedback-wise? Just knowing you're coming from not a traditional, baseball background. What do they say about that coming from North Dakota, come play down in the South?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Georgia Tech has like 8 commits, and I'm the only one from up north. Everyone's from Georgia, Florida, down south like that. So it's definitely been cool to see. But yeah, North Dakota baseball has kind of been coming on the map a little bit more with Caden Ellison and Jack Took and kids like that, going to bigger programs. So it's been really cool to see.
And yourself in the mix as well. I have to ask about that, just the level of ball. How much has the attention grown for you over the last couple of years? We talked a while back when you were first getting offers, then commits. How is, frankly, the spotlight grown? How have you handled that over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I don't think it's really been that hard. I just kind of stay true to myself and, keep working. There's always something that you got to work on. You can never be too good, but just each day trying to get better and not letting it get to your head.
How is it when you're pitching, like you're going to pitch for Horace and there's scouts there? Are the guys giving you a hard time? Like, oh, big deal. Like, who's here today? What is it like on a May day and you're going to pitch against Cheyenne?
Yeah, I think it's just the same thing that has been for the last 4 years, not trying to overthink it. And yeah, just going out there and staying true to who I am and not letting it get to my head.
So have this done, how much does that change? Green, you're still traveling all over the place. Has it changed anything now that the commitment is done in terms of your off-season plans?
No, I think it's still going into the off season. Just want to get bigger, faster, stronger. But yeah, it definitely has been a crazy summer. I had played with Team Elite. They're from Atlanta. Yeah. It's been my first summer with them, but we've been all over the place. Been to a couple of cool states and stuff like that. So it's been really cool.
What is that like, Cason? Is it equivalent for people that don't know of maybe playing like AAU basketball that you're traveling all over the place? Can you give what basically you've been up to?
Yeah, I think it is kind of like AAU basketball a little bit, but this is more on like the national setting. We have tournaments in Alabama, Georgia. We went down to Florida, North Carolina. So I think it's just mostly all down south, and that's kind of like where the main baseball travel hubs are at. So
And now
so
you're basically home for 24 hours. You told me because you're going to the area code games in Long Beach tomorrow. What is this event that you're going to be at over the next week?
Yeah, so it's put on by MLB Scouts. They take teams from, I believe it's 8 regions, and we go down to Long Beach. And so I'll be on the White Sox team. That's the Midwest team. So it's just teams from all over the regions, and you go down, play a tournament, do a showcase, and it's a ton of MLB Scouts are there, and it's just a really awesome event.
All right, I'll bite here. I mean, is there a distinct possibility you could be drafted and maybe not even play college baseball? Have you thought that? Has that gone across your mind?
Yeah, I think that's definitely been the goal ever since I was little. Obviously, I wanted to get drafted and play in the MLB, so that's the goal that I'm always working towards, especially this off season. Just trying to get bigger, faster, stronger. But that'd be awesome, yeah.
The fact that it may be a reality sooner than any of us think. What goes through your mind when I say that?
Yeah, I know it's definitely crazy to think about, especially being from North Dakota. Not a lot of high school guys get drafted out of here, so being one of those guys would be awesome.
I got to ask about state this past year out in Minot with yourself, your team, Cheyenne, South had an unbelievable run. What is it about around here? The level of talent right here in the West Fargo Metro makes it unbelievably good right now.
Yeah, I think it's just the players' dedication. A lot more people are trying to focus on baseball, and they're putting in the work in the off season, and they're doing what it takes to be really good at baseball. So I think that's showing from around here, and I think also the competition. Everyone wants to try to be the best. So when other players start getting better, then I know especially for me, I want to push myself harder to be the best.
I think I asked you this last time you were on. I'm sure you got this from recruiters. What do you like doing more, hitting or pitching?
It's still hitting. Yeah, no, I love hitting, especially just working on it. Hitting in the cages and hitting home runs like that. Nothing beats that. It's definitely my favorite.
Have you tried hitting right-handed?
Like 3 or 4 years ago, I did try to switch it. I had broke my elbow when I was like 12 years old, so I couldn't swing left-handed. So I was taking like single hand right-handed hit, swings off the tee, trying to learn.
How'd that go?
Not good. It didn't.
Because I think that's the only thing you haven't done. You can pitch, you can hit lefty. I was wondering if you can hit right-handed, because then your value would zoom even higher up then, right?
Yeah, no, I probably won't be trying that even.
I mentioned you're traveling. Do you get a time just to sit and relax? I mean, school starts soon. Is that basically when you get to sit down for a bit?
Yeah, I think after area code games, I have like 2 weeks off, so that'll be just kind of chill out, kind of process this whole summer. But then, obviously it's right back to work. Getting in the weight room, getting in the cages and stuff like that, just trying to get better.
Are you able to sit down, or when you're home in a couple weeks, you got to be doing something, or can you veg out for a little bit?
No, I definitely like to be at home. When I'm not playing baseball, I definitely like to be in my bed, be at home. Hang out with my friends, but then at the same time, I do try to hit every day. I try to lift every day, so still trying to manage both.
It's great to catch up, bud. Congratulations on the commitment. Good luck in California this week, and we'll talk again soon, all right?
Yeah, thank you.
Great to see you. There he is, Cason Borchardt from West Fargo Horace, on his way to the area code games out in Long Beach, California, newly committed to Georgia Tech. And I think we all better get around the process here that this time, or July next year, hopefully we have a draft next year. I don't even know about that. His name may very well be called, and then we'll see, depending on how high it is, if he goes to Georgia Tech or not. That's the interesting part about all this. But certainly a very bright future ahead for that young man, and we appreciate him giving us a few minutes before we wrap up the show. All right, let's take our final break. We come back. We'll get some emails in on the Dome and tickets and get you ready for pretty active Monday with a trade deadline looming. Hot Mike will wrap up right after this. All right, wrapping things up here on a Monday. All week long, we'll be getting ready for high school football practices getting underway in North Dakota. We'll have a variety of coaches either on Zoom with us or in studio to get ready. Of course, we have our customary season starter with our good friend Mike Zier out in Beach, because they have the first practice of anybody. They'll be practicing at 1 a.m. Central Time, midnight Central on Thursday morning to start the season. So we will make sure that we talk with his agent. Hopefully Wednesday we'll be able to continue another tradition with having Coach Zier join us to get ready for the 2026 North Dakota high school football season. Looking forward to that. This is a tweet from Jeff Goodman, who covers college basketball. We've had Goodman on the show a couple of times, going back to the eligibility piece. Says, I polled coaches from one of the top mid-major leagues. The majority still have one spot left on their roster. 7 of the 11 coaches he polled. 5 said they have no money to be able to add a player at this time. 3 more said they could, but have to raise money. 3 said they still have some money, but probably not enough to get an impact player. So it's not as outside the box an idea as maybe I even thought, that they have saved roster spots in anticipation of maybe this getting flipped. We'll see if it impacts anybody in the. Omaha had 2 guys. Tony Osborne went back into the portal, right? I mean, could he come back and play for Chris Crutchfield this season? We'll see. I mean, it just wouldn't be guys beyond the pale of thought. That would be something that would be possible. Let's get a few emails in here. This is going back to our conversation we had with Jeff earlier on ticket sales with the Dome. Forum editorial board published an article on Fargo Dome enhancements. What's it going to take for the city to figure this out? You can only polish a you-know-what for so long. It's unreal how this has dragged on for so long. I agree with that. People are spending money differently than a couple years ago. Can see that with the vote no to update the Dome. We love seeing the work the guys put into football, but others have different interests. There's no doubt about that. I'm just saying for the people that love football and go to football, I'm sure they want a different experience inside the Dome. And some that stop going, what was the reason now not to come back? Either you found other interests, which is fine. Just be the ones that said, I'm not coming until they play better competition. Okay, well, now they are playing better competition. Have you bought tickets yet? Dom, on the NDSU football ticket sales site, what is the criteria numbers for almost gone and not many left tickets? That's a good question. I don't know the answer to that. I know almost gone is the designation for Jacksonville State and Wyoming. Not many left is the rest of the other 4, Northern Illinois, UTEP, Fordham, and Nevada. And again, it's August 3rd. Let's circle back on this maybe 2 weeks from now, right? August 17th, and see where we're at. I thought the clamoring, the excitement on day one would have gobbled them all up. And that was not the case of what's gone on so far since season tickets have been on sale here for 48 hours, and nothing is sold out as of yet. I'm just scrubbing Jeff Passon's account. Mentioned the Luisa Rise trade of the Giants. Brent Suter's going from Atlanta, or the Angels to Atlanta. No other big names so far. Deadline is at 5 o'clock Eastern, so we'll see what happens between now and then. If the Twins make another move or they stand pat of what they've added on so far, which is 2 middling relievers to a team that is 1 game back of the final wild card spot with 40-some-odd games to go in the regular season. We'll see. It's going to be fascinating. It's not like last year where 10 guys were leaving. Now let's see if they're going to add anybody. Does Ryan Jeffers get traded between now and 4 o'clock? We'll find out. Let's do some What to Watch before we get out of here. All right, What to Watch brought to us by our friends at Northwestern Mutual. Okay, the Fargo 13-year-olds play again tonight. They'll face a team from Louisiana, 9 o'clock on ESPN+. That's the winner's bracket at the Intermediate World Series out in Livermore, California. 9 o'clock tonight on ESPN+. Big game of the WNBA tonight. Las Vegas is in second behind the Lynx. They face Atlanta. That's on Peacock at 6 o'clock. And, of course, if you want your Major League Baseball trade news, 1 p.m. on the MLB Network. They've got 5 hours of live coverage. ESPN's got going. So if you want to know what's going on with the trade deadline, to check out there for what's happened, who's getting dealt. We got to roll. Thanks to our guest today, to Jeff Kolpack, to Steve Laqua, and to Cason Borchardt. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at Inforum.com to watch a full replay on WDAY+. Thanks for starting your week with us, everybody. Have a great day. We'll see you back here tomorrow on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra, KSFL, KMBN, and Inforum.com.